Sunday afternoon and brew my cup. No UFO live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. Cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go! Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too.
Yeah, I see him over there.
Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, why not? Don't forget that. Oh, I cut the music right off. I had the fade out and everything. Let's switch over here to the full browser. Who is this guy in the left corner? Listen, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't want to be on camera today. I'm having a bad hair day, all right? I've been sitting in a Twitter space this morning, and you know, I didn't really get around for it. Welcome back to Terrestrial Material, where we talk about the material us terrestrials are interested in. So is another Sunday, the 24th. We got Thanksgiving here coming up. Good to see everybody. Rotary Motion, obviously in the song there. Nick, Cosmic Twilight, good to see you. John Stokes, B, hey, good to see you, B. Good to see you. You were just in that space we were in a little bit ago there. Not too far, not too long ago. Yeah, so welcome everybody. Let's look. The last couple of weeks has been man, it's hard to describe in a lot of ways. You know, it's been interesting, but there's been, I think, a lot of revelations. I think a lot of people are starting to probably change their mind a lot about this topic, at least as far as like disclosure is concerned and what could be coming down the road. I mean, I know I have. I know my expectations have been, I guess, lowered as far as what we were probably going to get from Congress moving forward. At least, I guess, on the House side, like any of these hearings, what all that could mean. I see Corbell's cat down there. What's up, buddy? How you doing? I guess you're going to give me my laugh here already this morning. But there was a lot, but it's like a lot of little things that have stood out throughout the week. And so as I was trying to put all of this together today, you know, going through all these bookmarks, because there's a lot. There's stuff I want to talk about. I want to give a couple of the reactions from the hearings. Obviously, Luna had a really interesting 20-second clip here of how she felt about the hearings going. I wanted to make a little bit of a mention about the Immaculate Constellation document. Now my stream is going to crash. The supposed document. We'll kind of take a little bit of a look at the front page of that. I know Jeremy Corbell made a big stink that the front page didn't make it in, and so we'll take a look at that. Some of the stuff that kind of happened after the hearings, you had Sheehan making some claims. Tim Gallaudet, I'm just going to give you guys a brief overview really quick. Tim Gallaudet had made a statement about the emails that he had received, what happened there. That's pretty interesting. And then, of course, we can start breaking into a little bit more of the Senate side, where we get into start talking about the Arrow hearing. We'll look at a couple of the highlights from that. I know McWest pointed out a interesting part about this report that they released a couple days before the hearing, so we'll take a look at that. Yeah, a couple of the highlights from there. We'll get some of his responses, John Kozlowski's what you guys think about him. And yeah, I think this might be out of order. I think I might have put this in the wrong order here. But yeah, then obviously Greer has been popping up into the news. So we want to hear what Greer's been talking about. He's trying to kind of take center stage again. And that'll be interesting as also we get a little bit more of an inside look at some of these tour dates of the Elizondo's doing and what's been actually going on at these tour dates, what he's been talking about. So, and then obviously we'll end with a couple of more mainstream kind of takes on the topic. I know Logan Paul has made a pretty big statement this week. So look, I originally gave my take at the end of the hearings after I streamed them, and there really wasn't like a whole lot to say for me at that moment in time. I mean, I'm looking for, at least personally, I want hard disclosure. I want full disclosure. I want to see bodies. I want to see craft. I want to see what we have. And obviously there was a lot of people that were upset that we didn't get stuff like that. Did I expect to get that from the hearing? No, but I expected these people to where if they're going to go in front of Congress and we're going to spend the time, that they really need to go ahead and take advantage of that. And that's why when you look at the lineup of Tim Gallaudet, Lou Elizondo, Schellenberger, and Mike Gold, none of these people are firsthand witnesses to anything. I mean, I don't believe Elizondo has any access to a legacy program or anything like that at all. So it's not the lineup that I would have chose to begin with. So my expectations were already low, but I think when you look at the reaction, this is where we'll start right here with Anna Polina Luna. This is where I think the rubber starts to meet the road, where you say, okay, where the hell is this thing going now? Because if we're not getting, if the hearings, the witnesses are going down in quality, in my opinion, where are we going, and how is Congress reacting to this? So this is an interesting little clip here. I want to play this. I might have to make, give me a second on the sound here to make sure the sound is right for it. And then we'll get this. This is Anna Polina Luna.
What I will state is yesterday, was I a little bit disappointed?
Oh, hold on a second. Let me do that. You guys got to remind me. I got to zoom this stuff in for you guys. I got to do it for me too. I should be looking at my middle monitor, but I'm not. Let's restart it.
What I will state is yesterday, was I a little bit disappointed in some of the responses from the witnesses? Yes, we got some great stuff, but I'm not interested in hearing about people's books. I'm interested in hearing about whether or not people can answer the questions.
Damn, not interested in hearing about people's books. I didn't catch that the very first time. I remember when we were talking about it, I guess after the hearings, after the stream, was I didn't catch that Lou did mention that book. I don't know how I missed it, but I did. But then somebody showed me a clip and I played it back, and yeah, he mentions the book, so she's kind of pissed about that. I don't blame her. It's not a place to advertise the book.
Because we are trying to get this into the archives so that people have access to the information. And so I wish there was a little less pitching and more talking. What I will say,
a little less pitching, more talking. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. We just didn't get anything that was substantial or new coming down the line from any of that. I'm trying to think of why. I think I put this one in out of order. I think I may have put this one in out of order. I don't know. I'll come back to this photo. I had this photo selected for a reason that I want to go over. John Greenwald did point out something also that was interesting with the House hearing. It says the program I belong to, ATIP, Lou Elizondo under oath. Yeah, you would imagine that if Elizondo was gonna talk about ATIP when he gets in front of these hearings, right, in front of these Congress people under oath, he would have established 100% that he had what was the director of ATIP. He would have hammered that home. And when you look at that quote, the program I belonged to, that's not being the director of anything. That doesn't confirm anything when it comes to that. And that's where the things get really shaky with Elizondo. This was kind of the same take that I had with someone like Bob Lazar. is I always said, you know, if Bob Lazar, he took so much crap over the years, whether you believe him or not. But the fact of the matter is you have these hearings now, and these guys could come and get their lives back. They could come and say what's on their mind and prove their case that everything they've been saying is true. They could get out in front and at least put that out there under oath and try to claim that back. Why doesn't Bob Lazar do that? And why doesn't Elizondo do that here? Why does he just say, I belong to it? I mean, how much scrutiny has he gotten over the last few years that he didn't? I mean, just if you were going to try to put it right in Greenstreet's face, right? If I was Elizondo and I believed that and that was what I did, I would go in there and put, you know, a period on it that was my program. But he doesn't. He just says I belong to ATIP. So that's a weird one. Yeah, I feel like I put these in out of order. And here's Nancy Mace's, and I believe she live tweeted this as well. If I hear closed session conversation one more time, I'm gonna lose it. so she was mad about it. She was mad about that. I think it was around, maybe because I zoomed in, you can't see it here, but I think it was around like 12:30 or something like that. Good to see you, Gabs. Good to see you, Steve. I see you guys in the chat. GG is new. He says, I've always lurked, never commented, usually working. Hello, everyone. Hey, hello. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. So, yeah, so that's her take. You know, I wonder how much longer they're going to deal with these hearings. Congress, at least on the House side, the UAP caucus, all these guys coming in here and talking and setting these up, because they're visually upset now. You know, they're upset now. And this is where I say, you know, everyone has to kind of realize that Congress is busy. They've got a lot of stuff to do. I know you guys know that, but I don't think people really think about that. You know, these hearings aren't going to be here forever, especially if they keep happening the way that these last ones did. If they don't get rubber to the road with it, they will move on. And there is an opportunity, whether you believe the people or not that are going there, there is an opportunity for them, like a Christopher Mellon, to not go on vacation and go to the hearings. And he says, well, perhaps next time. Well, how do you know there's going to be a next time? Nancy Mace says, if I hear closed session conversation one more time, I'm going to lose it. She's already pissed. She's already upset. You know, you got Tim Burchett was interviewed. I don't have the clip pulled up, but Tim Burchett was already saying how, you know, these hearings, we're not going to get anything. It's got to come from the executive branch. They're going to have to go ahead, and the president's going to have to go ahead and open up the files. He doesn't believe in it. He doesn't believe that we're going to get anything from these hearings. When you're losing that push, that's where you're going to lose the opportunity. And this is the opportunities for these hearings. This is what everyone's wanted forever. You've wanted the main stage. Here we are. You're going to have to put the best foot forward when it comes down to it. Okay? If we're going to have their attention. If we're not going to have their attention, then, you know, what are you going to do? Let me see here. I thought I had something else to go over with this. Obviously, should we just go to the Senate side stuff? Maybe we should. Maybe we'll just go ahead and go to the arrow before we do the immaculate coverage at this point. So this is from UAP James. Senator Gillibrand, UAP is a national security issue. We don't have domain superiority if we don't understand how different UAPs are flying, what technology they're using, what their purpose is. Gillibrand says UAPs over nuclear sites is deeply disturbing. I'll play this clip. It's 20 seconds, and then we'll kind of go over it.
This is a huge issue for national security because, number one, we don't have domain awareness, which is very problematic. Number two, we don't have domain superiority if we don't understand how different UAPs are flying, what technology they're using, what their mission is, what their purpose is. And at the base level, we have so many UAPs around our bases, around our military sites, around our nuclear sites, that it's deeply disturbing. This is
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's very concerning. I agree with her that it is. The one thing that confuses me, okay, why are they talking about this in public? I still don't understand why you would do this. This whole thing sometimes with Arrow and all of it, it seems very weird. If this was simply a hole in our national security, like she's saying. What did she say? We don't have domain superiority if we don't understand how different UAPs are flying. It's so strange. Why would you want to advertise that? I don't get it. Sometimes I look at this and I go, what is going on? Why would you want to show those flaws? It's very strange. I mean, they don't have to do this stuff publicly. Like when they talk to John Kozlowski, they don't have to speak to this guy publicly, man. They didn't have to do that. Are they really that confused? And if they are that confused, if she doesn't really know, then that means even if it's not alien tech, then we've got some serious technology that's outside of Congress's purview, and that's a hell of a problem in itself. It truly is. It truly is. So when you hear that, it's interesting. Don Stokes says, "Do you hear about the drones around U.S. Airfields in the UK?" Yeah, somebody said that today. I was in a space earlier this morning, and I was asking about that, John, because I was like, man, we hear about the stuff at Langley, we hear about these incursions, but we're not hearing, I hadn't heard anything about being around the world. And when it's just located in the US, that to me kind of led me to believe more that that's our tech that we're testing out. And these are some new things that we're testing the limits to. Right. And I still think that that's probably what happened with Langley. I think there's a lot of these newer incursions that you're seeing, they are testing new tech. Guys, we have incredible technology. Whether there's alien tech or not, we have technology, in my opinion, that is advanced. They have been working on things. Of course, we're going to have great drones. Of course, we're going to have stuff like that. You always have to factor that in. You can't, in my opinion, it's not logical to say that it's all ET. Or all future humans, or all crypto terrestrials, whatever label that you want to put on it. Now the orbs are a little weird. If you wanted to make an argument for angels and demons, maybe the orbs are a little bit different. That's a different section, but that's what makes all this so confusing. I don't know. I pull this because yes, it's from the hearing, this clip of her saying this, but it still is very strange to me that if this was such an issue that we had no idea about at all, why would you be talking about it in public that way? This right here was also a pretty interesting thing that came out after the hearings here. Just from John Greenwald, last month, Jay Stratton and the UAP task force was given the National Intelligence Meritorious Unit citation awarded by DNI Avril Haines directly. If you remember Avril Haines, she was the lady that was head of DNI, and then she kind of stumbled over using the word extraterrestrial in that back and forth questioning she had. They were doing like a press conference, I think it was, and she had kind of stumbled around on that. He says, "I've been working on this story for a couple of weeks, but it looks like it's out now before I could finish it." Now, the reason why this is interesting,
this is not our tech,
and I'll pop this, and I believe this is where he says this. If this is not where he says it, I'll be upset. I'll play this for a second because I think this is where he mentions the email. If not, then I don't have the clip. I just thought this was the clip.
I knew it wasn't China or Russia tech because I'd been reading all the threats. I had secret access program access, and I knew, okay, this is something different. But I couldn't say much about it, and I'll talk about that later because I stayed in government. But ultimately, I found out later, I know what happened. That email was wiped from my computer the next day.
Okay, it is. Okay, it's the clip. All right, I thought it was. I thought I looked at it. So if you guys remember from the hearing, Tim Gallaudet, a big part of his story is that he had supposedly received this email that had said that there were these close encounters with these UAP that were causing near collisions, and that he got an email that said, "Hey, look, does anybody know what's going on with this stuff? Because it's causing problems for us." That's obviously heavily paraphrased, okay? But we always kind of wondered, what happened with that email. He said it was deleted. We didn't know who deleted it, how it got lost, what have you, okay? He was asked a ton of questions, Tim was, at that hearing about the email. What he seemed to leave out, he never brought this up at all, which was who deleted the email, and he knew who deleted the email, and that's what he's going to tell you right here.
And my boss and the operations officer never talked about it in different meetings. How did that happen? Because this gentleman in charge of the UAP task force at the time directed that the email be taken off because that he wasn't sure if that was U.S. tech or not. So
Jay Stratton is the one who ordered the email to be taken off. Now, the weird thing is this was supposedly, this email was in 2015, and he says at the time, the head of the UAPTF, which UAPTF wasn't until 2019, I believe. So he's misspeaking there. There's a little bit of a weirdness there with that. But why is this not brought up in the hearing? Why is this left out? Now, this is one of my criticisms I've had with Tim Gallaudet in that hearing. Was there was a lot of times that he was speaking about these situations and he would go, oh, the guy behind me, Ryan Graves, he's seen it. He knows what I'm talking about. And I said to myself, why are you bringing up Ryan Graves? He already testified, man. You need to be speaking. Stop talking about what Ryan Graves is going to back you up on and pointing your thumb behind you. Talk about Jay Stratton and how that email got deleted. Bring this information to Congress, because then they can run that down, right? Because now it's on a record and they can go, okay, he's saying it's Jay. Let's go look into Jay. Let's get the ball moving. That would have been something that could have been helpful. Now, is it disclosure? No, but it's better than saying I can't tell you other than a closed session, right? Why is this stuff left out? Very odd. We'll finish the clip up here and see what you guys think.
As Leslie mentioned, Jay Stratton, he led that task force, and he actually, that little symbol in the middle, he just got an award this year for leading his effort to investigate UFOs by the current director of national intelligence, which is quite astonishing. It kind of reveals the sort of fractured nature of our UAP policy right now, that he gets an award, but we don't talk about it. I don't know what. So that's a whole other thing. But
yeah, I don't know. I haven't to be honest with you, I haven't took a big look into the award, and I don't know what that's all about. I don't think really many people do. That's just been coming out now. Maybe Greenwald's probably got a better take on this at this point. Let me see. I can confirm this definitely happened. The National Intelligence Meritorious Unit Citation is an award given to a unit or group for their contributions to the U.S. and United States intelligence community. The award recognizes a unit's collective performance that has resulted in significant benefits to the intelligence community. So I guess Avril Haines, she believes he's been quite the help. Yeah, look, the stuff with Jay Stratton, there's no doubt that next year, in my opinion, is going to be all Jay Stratton. And so we're going to hear more and more and more about him next year. And we'll probably get a little bit more understanding of what's going on with this. So some of this, I think, especially with him, is going to be kind of a wait and see situation. So that was kind of an interesting thing that had come out over time. He needed to say that at the hearing. So also at the Arrow hearing with Jill LeBrand and John Kozlowski, obviously Arrow brought out a little bit more evidence, a little bit more work, like proof of work that they've been doing. They went over a couple of videos. It's unfortunate the videos they kind of go through are just ones that are, they say, balloons, which I don't have really an argument of whether or not they are balloons. I guess my issue with Arrow is that when we get into these situations where they can get on record and they can bring the transparency that they're supposed to bring, we're only getting balloon videos. We know that there's cases that are anomalous, and there is video that they can show us, right? There is video. Now, I know he mentions in this hearing, John Kozlowski does, and he's the new director of Arrow, if you're unaware, that they are working to declassify some of that video. My issue is it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years, and they've got to have had a couple of more videos that they could bring out and show us that we don't have. This is my suspicion with Arrow. This is where these are my gripes that I have with them. But they went over this Mount Etna object. It says an event in 2018, a U.S. UAV flying over the Mediterranean Sea observed an eruption by Italy's Mount Etna, capturing video of a potential UAP seemingly passing through the volcano's plume with no apparent impact to its performance, altitude, and bearing. Okay. Findings from Arrow, in coordination with the IC and S&T partners, assesses with moderate confidence. So they're saying moderate confidence. Remember, Arrow has a list. It's a layout of exactly how they're going to label these cases. Okay. And they're always like moderate, words like that. I don't have the list in front of me, but they're never really a complete answer. Not that I can recall on that list. I'd have to pull it up again, but that's kind of how they answer these cases. It says that the object was a balloon drifting with the wind approximately 170 kilometers from the volcano. Analytic factors, and this is important, the point I want to make right here, okay? So analytic factors, coordinated analysis employed full motion video analysis, 3D modeling, pixel examination, as well as novel speed and distance calculation techniques to reach this conclusion. Where's the 3D modeling and pixel examination? Where is that? I don't disagree that they did it, but you're going to have a lot of people that are going to look at this video, and they released the full video. I believe I have the full video right up here. I'll let this go ahead and play for a little bit. We'll move it forward because it takes a second to get the UAP into the video here. We have the video of this thing moving, which credit to them. There it is right there. Okay. And look, it looks like a balloon. Like when you watch it, I could see it being a balloon. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree with them. But my point is like, if you have more evidence, if you have the 3D modeling, show that, release that, bring that to the hearing. Say, hey, this is what we believe that it is. This is why. Also, here is the work that we do. It's kind of like, you guys remember in math class, an arithmetic class, however you say it in England, in math class, you had to show your work. You couldn't just come with the answer. Okay? You had to show how you got through the division problem, where you added, where you minused. Show your work. That's true transparency. I don't want them to just tell me. I want them to show me what they did. Because that's what they're supposed to be doing, because that's what's going to provide the transparency that will get everyone on board. It's very, very important. It's cool video. It's cool video. I'm sure it could be a balloon. Yeah. It could be a balloon. But yeah, that's up there. It's 12 minutes long. You guys can go watch it. They released it right there at the hearing. So that's like my big gripe is I want to see some of that. Now, there was a report that they released a couple of days before, and I couldn't find it, whether or not this was technically volume 2 of the report that we've been waiting for Arrow at this point. But they released a report. I think it was 12 pages, or I think it was 18 pages. But when you minus like the cover sheets and the appendix and then the bib at the end, or however you want to put it, all the credits and everything at the end. What's the word? Not a bibliography. I'm stumbling for the word. I don't know. When they give you all the sources, the resources, the sources page, it's really only like 8 or 9 pages. But the reason why I bring this up is because when you look at this, right? Okay. So it says Arrow report totals and analytic adjudications, May 1st, 2023, June 1st, 2024. Okay. Cases closed 49, pending closure 243, undergoing analysis 21, active archive 444. So Mick West says, new report, Arrow has been slogging through the UAP cases, 757 new ones, most 444 lack sufficient data, 292 closed pending. This is my problem. There's so many of these cases. And the way that I look at Arrow is look, it's no secret. At this point in time, for me, my opinion is they have the same ability as Blue Book. It's very similar to the Blue Book scenario. Because when you look at what they've released to us, just from this hearing alone, okay, you've got the balloon here, and then they also did the Aguadilla video. If you guys remember the Aguadilla video where it looks like the UAP supposedly goes into the water and comes out of the water. And they said that's a balloon. That's all that they're coming forward with. And I asked myself, well, why? Why? If Arrow understands that it's our technology, right? They have this gap in their cases. If they did find something alien, or they did find it was our tech, they don't have to explain it. They can just simply say, we didn't have enough data. Most 444 lack sufficient data. Okay? 292 closed or pending closed case. they just mostly balloons. How are you supposed to know that's true or not? How are you supposed to? That's the problem. And so when you have the ability to just say, we have a lack of data, I don't know, it just leaves room for them to not tell us the whole story, whether it's alien or not. And I don't think that they're going to get to these cases. Blue Book had tons of cases at the end that they never did anything with. And that's kind of what I feel is going to end up happening with this long term, is that they're just going to, whenever cases come up that they don't want to talk about, they're just going to lay on this lack of sufficient data, which some of it's probably true. Obviously, you're not going to have perfect data on every case. But this ability to just leave this window open this way, it just leaves room for fuckery. Sorry for swearing, but it is. It just leaves room for them to use that as an excuse. But no evidence of extraterrestrial beings, activity, or technology. Well, I mean, it might not be ET. I say that. It might not be. It might be future humans. People laugh at that, but I don't laugh at that. I look at what's possible. Plus, it could be a lot of our tech. A lot of it could be. There's going to be a mix. So you have that there, and then they did bring up a graph here, which I thought was very funny. Here you got 70% balloons. Aircraft, satellite, birds, UAS. Okay. And I say to myself, well, what about the cases that aren't balloons? You know, those are the cases that I want to hear about. I want to hear about the ones that aren't balloons. Well, this is what happens when Arrow starts talking about the cases that aren't balloons. Okay? Take a listen to this.
3 cases that merit analysis that we're working on right now. One we might be in the process of resolving, but nonetheless is still interesting. The first one was brought to us by a law enforcement officer out west, where he observed a large orange orb floating several hundred feet above the ground a couple miles away. He went to investigate what was going on with that orb. And as he was pulling up to the location where he thought would be below the orb, about 40 to 60 meters away from some object, the area was well lit. He saw a blacker than.
What's he doing right now, guys? What's he doing? He's telling you a story. He's telling you the story of what this police officer is saying he witnessed. Well, why is he telling me a story? You have cases, John Kozlowski. You have cases. You have video that's compelling, that you can bring in and say, hey, this is the stuff. This is what people want. We don't want stories from you too, John. This is my problem with both sides. I have an issue with Elizondo and everybody on that side, and I have an issue with Arrow and everybody on this side. Because we understand there's going to be balloon videos, but we also understand there's going to be videos that are not. And this is what the public wants from you. The videos that are not. I want to see the stuff that doesn't have the answer. I don't need you to tell me another story, bro.
Black object. He said it was about the size of a Prius, 4 to 6 feet wide. And as he got 40 to 60 meters away from the object, it tilted up about 45 degrees, and then it shot up vertically. He says 10 to 100 times faster.
He says, I don't care what the guy says, John. I don't care what the cop says. I mean, I'm sure it's great. Get it on the record, whatever. You know, they're admitting that something is anomalous. And I know that's like a lot of people's take from Arrow right now. A lot of people's take with Arrow is that, oh, they're moving forward. They're admitting some of this. Dude, they're not admitting shit. They're not telling you at all what you want. He's simply telling a story. Now, listen, I'm not attacking John. Okay, I probably should have started this by saying this. It's not this guy's fault, in my opinion. It's not his fault. He's a guy that's in that position, and in my opinion, this is above him. Don't attack John. I'm not attacking John. Am I passionate about the situation with this thing? Has it been a frustrating situation with me? Yes, it has, because like I've wanted to give Arrow credit. I want to look at Arrow and say, man, this is an opportunity for us to really get a lot more answers. But when he comes to the hearing with the balloon videos and doesn't come with the other videos that are anomalous, It's an unbalanced approach, my friends. In my opinion, it's an unbalanced approach. Why? You know everyone wants videos, John. You know they do. You know ufology and disclosure doesn't need any more stories, John. You got to bring the videos if you can. If you can do it. If it's above you, hey, I get it. Everybody's got a boss. Everybody's got a boss. But I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying from most people out in UFO land right now. I don't think you are. I don't think you're getting a lot of this take. Not that my take is correct or I have the greatest takes, but I will not listen. I will not give these guys credit off face value. I won't do it. How many times have we gotten in trouble for that? For doing that? You know, everybody's got to put their hand up when it comes to Lou Elizondo and a lot of the stuff that happened with TTSA. Everybody was with that. I loved Lou when Lou came out. Absolutely. Everybody did. Everyone wondered, you know, is this going to be the guy? I won't do that. I won't do that. I didn't do it with Kirkpatrick. Not going to do it with him. Even though personally, I didn't ask for Arrow. I personally, I don't feel like I need them to do any investigations. I think that they already have the stuff. I'm with Tim Burchett. Just release it. Just release what you have. Let people see what's going on. But you're going to get me a little ranty today, I guess. But I mean, listen, this is how I feel. Well, we'll let him tell a little bit more here. We'll play a little more clip for you.
Faster than any drone he's ever seen before. And it did that without making a sound as far as he could tell from inside of his vehicle. And just as it left his field of view through his windshield, then it emitted very bright red and blue lights that illuminated the inside of his vehicle as brightly as if someone had set off fireworks just outside of his vehicle or street flares. So that's anomalous because of the size of the vehicle with the great acceleration. And when he came back to investigate that area, he found no disturbance of the ground beneath it.
Okay, so do you have any videos of that, of things similar like that, John? Okay, I'm gonna get off John. Listen. He seemed extremely nervous in this hearing. He doesn't look comfortable. I'll mute him here, and you can kind of just look at the body language. He seems, I don't know, maybe this isn't a good example of it, but he definitely seemed nervous to me, which he should. I would be nervous if I was him. They're sending him out there with the damn balloon videos. I mean, he knows he's gonna get crap over it. He knows it. He knows UFO Twitter is gonna go all over him. My whole criticism is pointed towards the program. It's not pointed at him. So okay, so let me see where are we at here. Yeah, and this was kind of interesting too. Here, Mick West tweeted this: UAP UFO reporting hotspots 2023 and 2024. Either someone switched up the lat long projection technique, or the aliens are fleeing from the center of the Earth. So there was actually obviously a mistake here. With this, you can see here in the 2023 era, this just moves like the exact same hotspot, but it moves in 1 year. It just doesn't really make sense of what happened with it here. But that's one interesting thing I wanted to point out with it. But also, I agree with John Greenwald's take on this, and this is a really, really good take. John really nails this stuff out of the park. Like sometimes when I can't think of exactly how to put it, how I want to, he does really nail it. But he says, I've long said, as have others, Project Blue Book was an explanation rather than an investigation. After yesterday and seeing Pentagon spokesperson sitting right there, pretty convinced Arrow is the same thing. Accuracy and investigation will take the back seat to explanation. And so what I took that him is referring to there too, is that when you look at the Go Fast video, which is also what they brought up at this Arrow hearing here, okay? And they had come out, and Arrow has made their statement now that they feel that the Go Fast video was only going 45 or 40 or 45 miles per hour, or is it knots or whatever. It's not going fast, okay? It's not going fast. Which I don't have any issue with that personally. NASA came to that conclusion, I think, last year. And then Kirkpatrick was actually asked about what he thought about that situation. He said he didn't look into NASA, even though he had mentioned that Arrow had used NASA's data to analyze that video. So there was a mess, and that was a whole ordeal with Kirkpatrick. But I agree with him in the sense of it's an explanation. What they didn't do with that Go Fast video is they didn't interview the pilots. They didn't interview the pilots that took the video. Why would you not do that? Why would you not go behind the scenes and try to get a hold of the pilots and figure out what's going on with that? Okay. And I don't even believe, if I'm correct, that they even gave an exclamation of what the object even was. They just said it's not going fast. Okay, cool. Does that mean it's not something from somewhere else? And I'm not saying that it is. Probably our tech, to be honest. A lot of these videos probably are. But they don't explain it. They didn't do the investigation, at least, to give us the full explanation of it. They're just coming out saying, hey, it's not going fast. Don't look here anymore. We moved on. And what bothers me about that as well is that we've heard about the Go Fast video from NASA. It's low-hanging fruit. Where's the gimbal analysis, everybody? Where's the Tic Tac analysis? These guys have had 2 years. They've had 2 years to go through that. Why don't we have the gimbal analysis yet? Do they need 5 years to go through that video, guys? 10 years? How long do they need to go through it? It's just, that's what frustrates me, is that they keep picking low-hanging fruit. And when they do that, I'm sorry, it's shifty to me. I can't give Arrow a full endorsement on any of it. I got to call out both sides for the BS, in my opinion. I got to call it out even and fair. So I agree with John. Project Blue Book, exclamation. There's a lot of similarities, in my opinion, to Project Blue Book, as well as Arrow. Now, you guys probably heard that Jeremy Corbell was very, very upset during I guess it was during and after the hearing. I'm sure he was the House hearing with Elizondo and Schellenberger and the boys there. He seemed very happy when he got there, of course. I'm assuming he was very happy, but when he left, he wasn't. Why is that? Well, when the Immaculate Constellation, when that summary was submitted, okay, there was a front page, the quote-unquote 12th page gate that was not submitted along into Congress. And Jeremy Corbell was very upset about that. Let's learn why. Okay, let's learn why. This is the front page of that report that was turned in. All right. So why was Corbell upset? The front page says, "My name is Jeremy Corbell, and I am an American investigative journalist. My mentor in journalism is George Knapp." I don't really know why that's relevant, Jeremy, but okay, sure. The following document is submitted on behalf of a courageous government whistleblower who has presented evidence on the UAP issue to the appropriate committees of the United States Congress. This report includes highly credible information, not only affirming the existence of UAP, but also exposing a decades-long conspiracy to deceive the American people and their elected representatives from uncovering the truth about the durational UAP presence on planet Earth and its potential origin. Okay? I'm not going to read this whole thing, guys. I just want to read a little bit here to make my point. Naturally, and this is so weird, naturally, one might ask, why not step forward directly? Why does the author remain unseen before the American public? The answer to this is as nearly as unsettling as the revelations asserted within this report. In today's America, speaking the truth has become a perilous endeavor. Listen, this is all his opinion. This front page is Jeremy Corbell giving his opinion on UAP secrecy and what's been going on. Yet the spirit of freedom remains, it says. Brave individuals have defied intimidation and oppression to bring these truths to light. The document is merely one piece in a larger body of evidence. It's all his opinion. We don't have proof of any of that. So if I'm Nancy Mace, I'm looking to take the document and place it into record, right? Why does Jeremy Corbell's opinion matter to the record? We're here to get the facts. We're not here to get Jeremy Corbell's opinion. I don't blame her for ripping the cover off of it and not submitting it. Not at all. But Jeremy's going to be pissed because he probably wanted to go down in the congressional record that way. He probably did. He wanted to be known as the guy who got this report submitted. He wanted to be known as the guy from behind. He's behind the scenes. He's got all the answers. That's his business. That YouTube channel, disclosure, that's his business, man. So I understand why he's upset. But at the end of the day, what does that say about Jeremy Corbell? Because in my opinion, at the end of the day, if you're really here for the transparency, you're really here to help with disclosure, you let this one go, man. Why aren't you just happy that document got placed in the record? And I don't think that, now personally, I don't think the document's real. And we'll get into a little bit of that. But when you look at it, why do you care? You got the win, right? You got the document in there. Well, a lot of people have been obviously arguing over this document, whether it's legitimate or not. And this was pointed out. Shout out to Astral. He runs some great UFO Twitter spaces. Shout out to Astral. And J Project Unity Anderson went over this, and I this was huge, and I didn't even think about this at the time, but when I seen it, I went, damn, he's right. A lot of people have been debating on who wrote that summary of Immaculate Constellation. You know, some people have alluded to Lou Elizondo. Some people have alluded to David Grush behind the scenes. Well, that maybe that was essentially David Grush's op-ed. That this was the way that he could get that out. That it got denied, his DOPSR was denied, and this was the way for him to kind of juke the system and get his information out to the public. Interesting takes. Sure, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer who wrote it. But it says, something smells fishy with UFO disclosure. Man, Jay has been like on it lately too. He got his YouTube channel demonetized, which was really screwed up, but that's the case. Jeremy Corbell provides congressional staff with the Immaculate Constellation UFO program document. The cover page was removed before the hearing. This cover page had Jeremy Corbell's name on it. It had more than that, as we just read. Jeremy Corbell takes to social media about this. It has now been rediscovered by Astral that Jeremy Corbell produced a TV series in 2016 with John Lear. John Lear. I read Bud Hopkins' Missing Time, and I said, this has got to be real. You got to love John Lear, no matter what. He's the best guy, man, listen to. Not for the truth, but he's entertaining is where I'm going with this here. John Lear called none other than Immaculate Deception. Oh, that sounds very similar to Immaculate Constellation, does it not? Does it not? Boy, that is a really, really good catch. Damn. So just to summarize, the latest quote-unquote smoking gun document appears to have been created by Jeremy Corbell, borrowing inspiration from one of his previous production titles, Immaculate Deception. Evidence of his involvement in the document was then removed prior to the hearing, which is extremely suspicious. Why would you need to remove Jeremy Corbell's name from this unless it would lead to some uncomfortable findings? This is where I don't agree with him, though. I think that they removed it from what I had already stated because it just doesn't have any bearing. It doesn't have any bearing. It does. It's interesting here, right? When you make this connection to it, it definitely pulls the document into even more question, which, like I said before, the document already seemed extremely unrealistic to me. You know, the guy had simply, tripped over the computer cord and saw the screen that was off servers and he happened to run into it. I don't know. It's way too far of a stretch for me to believe to begin with. But, do I think that there's some rogue programs? Yeah, but what we're talking about in that document's a different story. I'll continue to read this for you guys. So it says, paired with Schellenberger's claim during the hearing that these documents were provided to him by specialized sources in the DoD, and his refusal to divulge these sources in any shape or form only adds to the increased skepticism. This all has the air of disingenuous behavior to serve some quote-unquote greater good cause, a little lie here, a little lie there, all for the cause of disclosure. Fabricate a document, circulate some unevidenced stories. It all serves the greater good of disclosure. Yeah, if we're getting it, but I don't even think it's serving a greater good for disclosure. It's not doing. We're not going anywhere right now. So I mean, if that's what they think is going on, that it's serving a greater good, I think that they're mistaken. They're mistaken on that. Sorry, but this is a radicalized ideological movement, not an objective research-based endeavor to gain clarity, and my trust in any of these official processes has completely vanished. The man Lear. Dude, the immaculate deception. How much has John Lear been a part of, man, that's suspect? The whole Lazar story, you know, you got so many things that Lear has been smoking his cigar behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know this, but Jeremy Corbell slept on John Lear's couch for a few years. There was Lear, there was trouble behind the scenes. I'm trying to remember the whole thing off the top of my head right now. But Lear was starting to get pissed at Jeremy. And they used to call him, I think behind the scenes, Jeremy Corbell, they called him Old Forename, Mr. Forename or something like that. Because when you look at, I'll pull this up here. It was Forename, right? Because when you look at his name, his full name, there's 4 names. Jeremy Kenyon Lockyer Corbell. They refer to him as Forename, which is pretty funny. There were some emails or something that Jeremy Reese, alien scientist, was showing, and they were kind of talking behind the scenes about that. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, Lear's been attached to a lot of it. So it's interesting. It's an interesting take. That looks extremely fishy, dude. It does. It really, really does. And I don't know. The Immaculate Constellation, the name, in my opinion, kind of sucks. I don't know. It doesn't sound believable. It sounds kind of over the top. So this is kind of the takes of people that are coming around. Now, I know we're rolling through a lot of stuff here, guys, and I'm moving at like a million miles per hour today because there is a lot that I want to show you. And I've got to be done here pretty quick for an engagement after this. But there's a few more things that I do think are important to bring up here. Now, this says everybody knows that Seoul had their symposium again a couple days ago. And it says, the Seoul Symposium could not have had a better end. Great to meet you, Dr. Nell. So here's Nell. Here's Carl Nell. You guys remember Carl Nell? There is no doubt. Why is Carl Nell at Seoul, but he didn't go to Congress? This is a guy that I wanted to go to this congressional hearing, and look at where he's at. He's here. No time for the hearing. Time for the New Paradigm Institute. He did a little appearance there. No time for the hearing. You want to get the ball moving forward. You want to stop having, congressional people upset. Everyone needs to go. Everyone needs to go. This guy's made giant claims, man. That's what people should be a little bit, miffed about. You shouldn't ruin your day. But it should irritate you a little bit that he's over here shaking hands going to Seoul, but he won't go to Congress for you for all that. You know who else was at Congress? The big news from the Seoul Foundation is Eric Davis said there is zero doubt. And Arthur says, how is that even news? Yeah, I mean, Eric Davis, no, I agree. It's not surprising to hear him say that, but that is like the new term, I guess. Maybe that's moving around, zero doubt. There is no doubt. But that's where Eric Davis is. Now, I wouldn't pick Eric Davis out of my top 5 to go to Congress and testify, but at the same time, I would have took him over Mike Gold. I would have took Eric Davis over Elizondo. I would have took Eric Davis over Elizondo. Like I said, there's a better lineup, and the better lineup is over here doing other things when it's supposed to be so important. When we have this opportunity to make waves, the sun is shining. We want to make hay here, and that's where we're at. We don't have them there. No good. Doesn't look good. I gave Bob Lazar a lot of crap for not going to that first hearing, man. I did. And these guys are it ain't looking good. And it's to the point where it's like, I don't even know what to do with them anymore. Because if they won't go and all they're going to do is tell me stories, does it mean that they're lying? Not completely. You can't say that. You can't say that Carl Nell doesn't want to go because he doesn't want to commit perjury. You can't say that. Not really. But it just makes you kind of look at them and go, your next podcast you do or the next interview you do, I might just tune out because I've already heard your story, man. I don't need to hear anymore. I wanted to see if you could maybe point some fingers and and get some people out the door, get some evidence out the door, get some proof out the door for everybody. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. So, and you know, not happy about when it comes to that. Now, as we move through here, because we are cooking, boys. We are cooking, boys and girls. I know there's some girls out there. my analytics don't say there's very many of you, but I'm sure you're there. Stephen Greer is mounting quite the comeback. He's mounting quite the comeback. He's got the new documentary that he's doing with Third Phase of Moon. He's got the cruise coming up where you can go do CE5 and you know, get drunk with Greer, which I'm sure would be fun. I don't think you're going to get disclosure of the truth, but I'm sure it'd be a lot of fun. And then you have him kind of stepping out now and just getting on camera more and giving his opinions on not only the hearings, but what he has coming forward. So we'll take a look at this 54-second clip here and we'll get his take. This is from, I think Ashton put this out. Congress didn't call a single first-hand whistleblower to testify at the recent UFO hearing. Instead, they interviewed a counter-intel agent. Dr. Stephen Greer has interviewed Black Project engineers. Why aren't they testifying? Well, Ashton, you probably know why already. But, okay, let's get his take.
You know, the Washington hearings, Dr. Greer.
Yep.
What a past few days, and we're in D.C.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's kind of the day after, right?
It was what we thought it would be, a nothing burger, because, you know, we submitted 23 first-hand top secret guys who've actually handled the material, the craft, all that, and they didn't want to call any of them. So instead they called a professional disinformation expert, Luis Elizondo, and some second-hand people who knew very little, and whose information, if you go to dpiarchive.com, you'll see, you know, 120 top secret military whistleblowers and others that are there for anyone to see, that are 100 times more impactful than the people they had at this hearing. So it begs the question of whether anyone in Congress is actually serious about disclosure.
You know,
Yeah, but here's the thing though, Greer. Are they going to bring photos? They're going to bring videos. They're going to bring the material. They're going to bring the 115. The problem is that if once again, I hate to be a broken record here, beat a dead horse here, you know, if they don't bring anything new as far as hard proof, it's going to continue to kind of just fall on deaf ears. And I look, I've been saying this a while too, that you hear a lot of people, and I don't want to divert. I want to talk about this, but I don't want to get too far off of Greer here because we got a little bit of a flow here going with them. I'll just say this. Everyone who says that these hearings were not for us and that they're for the general public, whether that be the Arrow hearing, Senate side, House side, what have you, okay? It's not, it's there to catch these people up. It's there to bring new people and all of these claims of why it's okay that we didn't get any proof this time. It's not. It's not proof. Okay? It's not good for everybody. It's not good for disclosure. It's not good for the topic to have that. And the reason why is I was sitting in a quick story. I was sitting in Logan's, shout out to Logan, his Twitter spaces. I was talking in one of his Twitter spaces. He brought me up and was asking me kind of about thoughts on the hearings and things like that. And I brought this up and I said, you know, the hearings, everybody wants the same thing from them. The normies who don't know anything about ufology, the nerds in ufology, everyone who looks at this stuff every single day, we all want the same thing. There isn't a separation anymore. We all want proof to be we all want the proof. And to get the normies interested, you need that proof there at this point. And a funny thing happened in that space after I had said this, maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes later. And he's got the space recorded. I know it's like a forever space. You can probably go back and find it from 2 days ago. A random person comes into the Twitter space and simply says, oh, hey, you know, you guys are, because the Twitter space was called the Great Reset. I had said, you know, the Great Reset was coming with UFOs. And it was like the disclosure movement here, quote unquote disclosure movement. And the man come in and said, oh, I said to him, oh, okay, are you, because he didn't know anything about UFOs or anything like that. I said, what'd you think about the hearings, the House hearings on UAP? And he said, oh, they're bold. I said, bold? I thought that was like the weirdest answer ever. I thought that was like one of those answers where if you don't know what you're talking about, you just kind of say something vague like that, right? So I said, no. I said, the one with, Elizondo and Schellenberger. I said, what did you think about that? And he goes, wait, UAP? He goes, you mean aliens? I said, yeah. He goes, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I said, okay. I said, well, what'd you think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Who won that fight? And he goes, man, come on. He won that fight. I said, there you go. They don't care. They had that hearing on a Wednesday. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fought on a Friday. 2 days later, the guy had no idea what was happening with that. He could tell you all about the Jake Paul fight. Now, you tell me this. If on that hearing on Wednesday, if somebody would have came in with some real evidence, some proof, some firsthand knowledge, you think he wouldn't have heard about it? You think the only thing he could have told me about that week was the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight? Absolutely not. It'd be huge news. And if you don't have that, if you don't have hearings where things are really getting moving like that, they're just going to watch the Jake Paul fight. And they're not going to come into the community, and they don't care. The bar for the general public is so damn high now. It's as high as ours. It truly is. In my opinion. It's true. And so in that moment, I said, well, there's your proof. But I digress. Okay. Stephen Greer. So here he is. He says he's got better whistleblowers. He should have been there at the hearing. Let's hear him talk about a little bit more about this. Okay.
To, which is very important, is that we're sort of moving beyond the whistleblower phase, and we're advocating for a group that are now defecting from these covert black sites, who will hand over to us the dispositive evidence and proof, which we will then provide to you, Bianca, and the media. This is a very bold step. Yeah, well, this is a very bold step. This is something that's just happened. We have a special access project within law enforcement working with us, as well as a group of people who are at 6 different black sites running programs, including reverse engineering ET craft and the man-made ones.
I want you to come back and discuss this, and I think Americans are ready. The world is ready. They want this information out. And Dr. Greer, if anyone can do it, you can.
Thank you.
Anybody can do it, Greer can. So what is he saying? Breaking, according to Dr. Stephen Greer, there will be a major data dump direct to the media from defecting legacy UFO members. So Greer is not only trying to come back on the scene with a documentary and a boat trip, he's trying to step in and kind of take the spotlight now. And my opinion with this is I think he's been kind of waiting in the background lately. You haven't heard too much from Greer. A little bit. Not a whole lot, though. Not like prior to even 2017. But I think he's been waiting to see how a few of these hearings were going to go. I think he's been waiting to see what would happen if someone like Elizondo got in front of Congress. And he wanted to see these guys see their cards. Let's see what they got. Do they got the goods? Are they going to be able to move disclosure down the road? Should I get out of the way? Or is there room for me, Stephen Greer, to step back onto the scene and take center stage? It's no surprise to me that after those hearings and how weak they were, the House hearings on that Wednesday, that he's making his move now. Greer he sees an opportunity, whether you believe him or not. It's not what I'm talking about here at all. I'm just simply talking about the shift that's happening in the disclosure narrative side of ufology. He's shifting in now to try to take that place. Because I'll be honest with you, Elizondo's got a lot of heat. He's got a lot of heat right now. A lot of people in the community who have supported him for a long time, it ain't going that way. It's not looking good for him. And this is where Greer sees his opportunities coming in. Now, the major data dump and stuff, I mean, we've heard this stuff before. But Greer wants to party like it's 2001, boys. He does. He wants to party like it's 01. He's tired of being on the bench. He's trying to come back out. So expect next year, Jay Stratton, Stephen Greer is going to come around, and we'll see how they interact. I think that's going to be interesting. Because if it ends up happening to where Greer ends up making a lot of noise again, and he starts getting on TV, or he starts getting a lot of movement again, Not saying he could, but, see what happens. And if Jay does, we'll see how they interact. Maybe they'll talk. Elizondo and Greer never had the conversation. Everybody always wanted them to have a conversation about the topic, and because they don't agree with each other. Greer is all love and light. The beings are all here to help us. Elizondo is, muddy boot prints at your house. It's all a threat. It's initial preparation of the battlefield. Could you imagine if we could have got a real good conversation between them prior maybe to a lot of the other stuff that we've been learning about Elizondo? Now it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal to me. It'd be interesting, I guess, just to do it. But I don't think that you would, get anything really to glean out of it. But keeping with Elizondo and trying to move forward, because I know we're at an hour, guys, and we try to keep this at about an hour. The book tour has continued. I think it's done now. I think the 18th, what day was the last day of the book tour? I think it was the 19th or something like that. I can't remember the last date. But he's updated. Luis Elizondo has updated the book tour content. So as we all know, the chandelier picture that was, heard around the world, shot around the world. Now he is claiming that it's wrong. Okay? Because it's wrong. Social media solves the riddle. Lou, if the guy wouldn't have took the video, social media wouldn't have had a chance to solve the riddle. So he's trying to, clear up his PR on this. Sorry, I had to drink my water. He's trying to clear up the PR. He's trying to edit the whole thing. Social media solves the riddle. Lou, you should have solved the riddle 2 years ago. You had the photo for 2 years. So a lot of damage control happening at the big Lou tour. Okay. And so you would think to yourself, all right, you would think to yourself after the chandelier gate and everything else, okay, you would assume that he would have maybe learned his lesson. right? That's what you would assume, that this couldn't happen again. Of course not. It couldn't happen again. Well, I regret to inform you that it's happened again. Okay, it's happened again. And boy, this is making me wish that I could have went to one of these book tours stops, because I think that there has been a lot in this presentation of stuff like this. And we've only gotten a couple of the things here. Tim Green Street tweets out, just weeks after being caught red-handed promoting a fake UFO photo and claiming false things about it, Lou Elizondo is now promoting another fake UFO photo on his for-profit speaking tour. In 2011, the creator of the photo admitted it's a hoax. Okay, that'd be true. This photo right here from the Belgian wave. Okay, it's not a real photo, guys. Not a real photo. The famous image of a ostensible UAP in the 1990 wave in 2001, its author clarified it was an undoctored picture of a polystyrene triangle with 4 light bulbs. Okay. So here's the man. Okay. I believe this is the guy right here. This is him. So it's not real. The photo is not real. Okay. And you look at what he's kind of breaking down here when he's showing this photo. All 3 sides equally protected within the warp bubble. Lights on apex of triangles. This was in his book, guys. If you guys didn't read his book, this was like his theory. What's really not his theory. It's Hal Puthoff's theory. I don't think I can zoom it in enough on that point. Where he's saying the lights on these crafts are creating they're gravity bubbles. Okay. And the bigger the craft that you want to move, because creating a gravity bubble would require so much energy that you wouldn't be able to just make one bubble big enough to hold it. You'd have to use multiple bubbles for the energy to move a craft. So you'd have one here, one here, one here, one in the middle. Those gravity bubbles would all encase that craft, and that's how the whole thing would move. Okay, so multiple bubbles equal 1. Okay, if that makes sense. This was what he talked about in the book, but he's using this photo as like an example. And it's like, in my opinion, it's like, why do that? You don't need to do this. We don't need to use this photo. All that you need to do is just show this as your opinion. I think the theory is interesting. I don't have any issue with him. If that wouldn't have been there and he just said, hey, this is what I think is going on, this is the deal, I don't have any issue, right? Everybody's got their own opinion. When you start adding, phony photos in there. It's just not necessary. It's the same thing with the chandelier. I don't understand, dude. It's not necessary to do this stuff. And it just sheds a terrible light on the situation. So it's like, now you had this guy who just testified to Congress and he's showing these photos. I don't know. It's kind of a mess. Let's get through these last few things here. I just want to get you guys a little bit of an update on what's going on here, okay? Last thing on Lou here. This was pretty interesting. So Elizondo's attorney, who was at the hearing with him, well, one of his attorneys, I think Sheehan is still another one. He's got tons of attorneys here. His attorney, former, Ivan Hanel ESQ. I don't know what his last name is. I don't know what that means. Ivan Hanel. What does ESQ mean? Do you guys know what that means? I don't know what that means, but maybe you guys can kind of put it in the chat there for me. It says, at New Paradigm Institute. So Lou Elizondo's attorney is tweeting at Danny Sheehan here. He says, Danny, don't ever tell me how to publicly represent a client of mine, ever. Ooh, man, this guy's got he's getting serious here, isn't he? I have the text from July 23rd, 2024, when I was walking the halls of Congress. By the way, you write like an 8-year-old. And to your imbecilic associate in uniform, Colonel Dimwit, which that's got to be a reference to Carl Nell, right? Colonel Carl Nell, who I don't even know is on X. Yes, UAP are real, NHI are real, but you are not. So he actually takes Carl Nell. He said Esquire, John? Esquire, old form of Mr. in English. Oh, okay. Well, shit, man. You learn something new every day. Thank you, Gebs. Thank you, John. But he says UAP are real, NHI are real, but you are not. So he makes fun of Carl Nell, and then he takes his saying and kind of flips it on him and shoves it over at Danny. This guy was pissed, wasn't he? Decent people don't carry water for others with highly improper motivations. I can't believe you ever were in our military in any capacity. No wonder you didn't make General GFY. If you can carry on this defamation campaign, I have many legal options, and as others will attest, and the reason we got to the hearing yesterday in the first place is because I employ them. Not much of an ego on this guy, is there? He's pretty chill. And if you ever say what you said to me in person, this is where this gets really weird, guys, okay? If you ever say what you said to me in person while I was walking with you in the halls of the House, can you agree that we can respectfully go to a nearby MMA gym and settle this? I mean, you pretend you're tough because of your military background, but you are an effing coward. I don't know who I despise more, you or Danny. One does the wrong, the other abates it. You both are toxic for ufology, and tell Jim that I have record of his text in that dumb signal group. Hey, Jim. Trying to think of what Jim that he's referring to on that. I don't know off the top of my head. There's a lot of Jims, and it could be a Jim we've never heard of. So I'm not really sure. I don't want to speak on that because I don't really know. I don't know if it's Jim Semivan, Jim Lakatsky, if it's James and he's just using Jim, or if it's actually just Jim. Not sure. But as you could imagine, if your attorney made a tweet this way, would you ever keep this guy as your attorney? Of course not. Of course not. So the story is that Lou has nicked him now as his attorney. He got him out of there. But this is the reason why I bring this up is, yeah, it's funny. It's interesting to hear kind of some of the back and forth behind the scenes. But you got to look at like the fracturing that's going on with this current quote unquote disclosure movement. All of these people behind the scenes, everyone's tearing at each other's throats. Everyone's going after each other. Everyone's fighting to be right, to be at the center stage. Everyone's fighting for the rep. And, it just doesn't feel like they're fighting for disclosure. It feels like they're just fighting each other. And that's where you have to kind of take a look and step back and get 50, 60,000 feet up. And when you start looking ahead to next year, like, where do you see this thing going? These guys can't get along. I don't know. It's very weird. I personally think a lot of this stuff is this long process from, 2015, 2016. I go back before the New York Times article. 2017 really isn't the start of the latest movement for me. I think starts with TTSA, starts with Tom DeLonge going to Lockheed Martin and talking with the head engineer there and talking about the whole idea of doing this whole TTSA thing. And it goes back to Tom talking to John Podesta and General McCaslin and the WikiLeaks emails coming out and kind of exposing a lot of this. It's further back than 2017. And that's what I think that you're seeing. I think that you're seeing kind of the end of the era. You're at the end of this era. Because no matter what, like I mentioned earlier, Congress is pissed. These people are pissed. They're not getting anywhere. And I don't see Arrow doing much at this point at all either for putting out the information that we're looking for. But nobody is. And if nobody's putting out the information that we're looking for, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see Arrow changing a lot of their perspective either. So when you look at the whole thing, 50, 60,000 feet up, where's this thing going? I think it's slowing down, dude. I think it's really, really slowing down. And I hope that we don't start moving into this situation that we're going to roll into right now, just to kind of segue into it. Logan Paul has the most compelling UFO video ever. This is James Fox. The Paul brothers discuss contributing to the UAPDF, plus more. UAP Disclosure Fund, that's Elizondo and the boys. Okay? Let's listen to this clip of what Logan Paul's saying.
How are you going to get involved? Most notably right now, there's a UAP fund.
Oh, wow.
That is like vowing to fund and protect whistleblowers who come forward from being like sued or tried to be like bullied by the United States government. Because right now, there's people inside of these programs that are trying to reverse engineer the crafts or have seen or heard things or spoken with witnesses or even like have video footage themselves who are in the community staying silent because either they're committed to their project, which is cool, but I think they have a bigger commitment to the United States people. Yeah. And I think more people are going to realize that and come forward with really important information, but they're also likely going against the government branch that they vowed to stay secret to.
Well, here's the thing, Logan. At the end of the day, if they're worried about their lives in that kind of a sense, I mean personally, I think if you had 40, 50 people come out at once, like let's say these 40 whistleblowers all came out at once, they're not going to kill everybody, man. They're not going to kill everybody. You're not going to be able to discredit everybody. If you had 40 or 50 people come out with some real hard proof, I think they would be safe. Maybe a couple might get clipped. Maybe. Maybe there'd be a little bit of damage, but I don't buy that. I think they just need to bring the stuff out, man. And I just think that Logan is like thinking about, which I don't, and here's the thing, I don't know how serious he really is in like supporting the UAPDF. I mean, he's talked about aliens and stuff in the past, but he's never really done anything with it. Like he's got the button video from Chuck Clark. He offered him, I think, $100,000, if I remember right. That's what James Fox was saying, to be able to record the video or to buy the VHS tape from Chuck Clark out there in the desert. And he couldn't get his hands on it, and Chuck wouldn't sell it to him, so he had the button cam video, which we've never seen before. We've never seen that before. If he would have released that photo, maybe I would have thought he was more serious in getting, or that video, the button cam video, I'd have maybe believed he was a bit more serious about getting involved in the topic, but I don't know. I don't think we need that. I don't think we need to fund this. Like I said before, I agree with Tim Burchett. Release the files. Let people come out in mass, dump everything, and I think they'll be okay. So let's not pump money into a fund that I don't think that we actually need. And then you see Fred Durst replying, let's start our own transparent fund in regards to UAP research and the likes of, and that was at Logan Paul. So Fred must have seen that and said, hey, we're not going to go join this group. Let's go do our own thing. We really, I think, don't need that. If they want to get on there and do a podcast or something, that's fine. I know Fred Durst was toying with doing a podcast with the guy from Smashing Pumpkins. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. right now. I don't know why either. I'm blanking on his name, but I am. Billy Corgan. Is it Billy Corgan? So then they were going to do a UFO podcast and they didn't. So I don't know if Fred's that serious. He might just want to be jumping on the bandwagon here a little bit, trying to get Logan Paul's attention. I don't know. It's a weird one. Brody says it can't. It's $1 trillion scheme. I still think even if 40 did come out, it'll end going nowhere. I mean, it won't if they actually have proof, though, Rotary, in my opinion, dude. I think if they had some solid-ass video chain of custody, dude, yeah, I think they could. Couple more things, guys, and this is almost done here. I know we go way over time than we usually do, and I got a little bit of an announcement I got to make here at the end, okay? So, new exclusive, Jared Moskowitz says, I want the speaker to do a select UAP committee in the next Congress. Okay, remember we talked about earlier this year that we're going to get that UAP select committee? That's what he wants, right? So maybe they'll work towards this next year. Maybe they'll try. I mean, I know that they were already denied this. They had already brought this up to the speaker, and he said, no, we're not doing that. There's hearings that are going on. Arrow, they're not doing it. Maybe they can make that happen. I don't think so, though. I wouldn't hold my breath. But if you kind of want to know where the UAP caucus and these people are moving to, or where their head is right now, at least people like Moskowitz, that's what he wants. That's what they're maybe looking towards doing, because that'll give them, I believe, more access as far as like SCIFs are concerned. And then it does, I believe, also give them subpoena power. So if they are hostile witnesses that they want to bring in, if they want to bring in Jim Lukatsky, if they want to bring in Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, Jim Semivan, I don't know, you just throw his name in there, throw Semivan's name in there, why not? They would have the power to do that. And so if they were able to pull that off, maybe, we'll see. We'll see. But they would need to get something like that to really get some access going and to kind of take it forward. The cover image of James Fox's documentary, The Program, here it is, The Program, 2024, hour and 42 minutes is the runtime. I like looking at that and seeing that. Now we know about what we're going to get. About an hour and a half. That's pretty good. The program goes behind the congressional hearings to leave skeptics astounded by new assertions from a growing chorus of well, we can't see the rest. But it's going to be in HD. It does say that. So that's coming. I know there's been a lot of like back and forth. We've been waiting to get the actual release date from James Fox, which I don't think we have it yet, in my opinion, or I haven't heard it. Maybe not my opinion, but I haven't heard it at all. But supposedly at Seoul, they watched, I guess, a trailer, or maybe they watched a preview. Yeah, I think it says exhausted but absolutely thrilled to have an opportunity to preview James Fox's newest film. I believe this was at Seoul. Yeah, it was. The program, all I will say, blah, blah, blah. Hope to share more after the conference in a post-Seoul episode. Post-Seoul episode. Yeah, so I believe it was at Seoul. It's interesting. She's saying release date mid-December. I love this tweet from Manny. He goes, TLDR, cool story, but where's the evidence? Yeah, look, it'll be fun to watch. It'll be interesting to watch. Are you going to get disclosure from the program? No, you're not. But it'll be interesting to watch. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to go over here, okay, is this. Okay. Falcon Space. This is the crew that I believe that Jeremy Reese, alien scientist, has been working with, and these guys are doing a lot of interesting physics stuff. They do the what's the name of the APEC conference. The APEC conference. So advanced propulsion. They're doing a lot of research trying to figure it out. If you remember, maybe 6 or 8 months ago, maybe it wasn't that long. Yeah, it could have been 6 months ago. The last 3 months for me have kind of blew by. I don't know, but Jesse Michaels at American Alchemy. This is why they're doing this at American Alchemy here. He had put out a challenge, and he was going to offer, I believe, $50,000 to anyone who could prove the Byfield Brown effect. And this is their submission for that. This is pretty cool. Hard vacuum.
High voltage. It's rotating device. it's been rapidly increasing in its energy levels. That arcing you hear is on the outside. Just the high voltage feed in is arcing every once in a while.
So this looks really cool. I don't know exactly what's going on here. These guys are like 50 million times smarter than I'll ever be with stuff like this. But it looks like that they may have, like as they're saying, we've fulfilled your requirements for the challenge. And so now I guess they're waiting for Jesse Michaels to show up. So we'll see if Jesse Michaels heads out there, they get the 50 grand. That'll be interesting. But that was a very, very cool video. I know this has something to do with this this movement in the vacuum jar. I can't remember, but I know that what they're doing here is pretty substantial. So if you guys want to go follow them, Falcon Space, I'll give them a follow too. Why not? Yeah, go follow the work that they're doing. These guys are actually trying to get down to some research to figure out the physics. That's great. You got to support stuff like that if you can. I didn't even know they had a Twitter, to be honest with you. I follow Jeremy, but usually get that stuff from them. But yeah, it's very, very cool. I hope they win the money, man. I do know this glass jar, this top here, this is very expensive. This is very, very expensive stuff. So cool for them. Okay. Now, I guess I can just leave it there on that page. A little bit of announcement here, guys. We're an hour and a half in. So I am going to take with the channel, I am going to be taking a holiday break. Okay. So I had planned on doing this break for a little while. Didn't want to do the break until we got through the hearings, especially until we got through the Senate hearings. So the channel, for sure, I'm going to go on break for, I don't know, probably until maybe mid-January. I really want to be able to kind of spend some time for the holidays. We're not going to be getting a whole lot from UFOs over the holidays here. We're looking at probably 90, 120 days. We're not going to be getting anything that I think is probably going to be super substantial. I've got some holiday plans with my family. I got some holiday plans with my wife. I'm pulling a Christopher Mellon here, going on vacation, not going to the hearings. But yeah, I'm going to take probably a month and a half off. Now, I'm not going to be gone forever. I'm not going to be gone forever or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying here. I'll still probably jump in and out of some spaces here and there. I might host a space here or there. But I kind of want to take some time and think about what I want to do going forward. I don't want to say like the channel is ending, or my YouTube channel is ending. I think that's a little bit extreme. But I think that creatively, I kind of want to step out, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I want to step out and kind of look around and see some other things that I could be doing. But I also want some time to think about that. I want to see what you guys think. If you guys have been enjoying this, I know there's been a lot of support from you guys in the chat. Steve Hammers, Rotary, Gebs, John Stokes has been here forever. You guys have been here forever. Corbell's Cat, Moody Mongo, good to see you in here, dude. As I go through the chat, you guys have been diehards in here. But a lot of the issue is that YouTube, and I'm going to forget somebody's name, Nick Cosmic Twilight, you're in the song. You guys know you're appreciated. A lot of the problem with YouTube is like, they just don't move the content as much. It just doesn't really get kind of down the road, and that's not your guys' fault. It's not. But I'm thinking about maybe changing it up and doing something different. The reason why I say I'm not killing the channel is because I might want to come back and still do some stuff with this channel. I do. And I don't like closing doors on stuff. I don't, because that just doesn't make sense. I mean, if this thing really kicks off and there's a lot of like video to bring and stuff like that, then I'll probably come back and do something with it. But right now, it's just really hard to see moving forward where the topic is going to go. And I never want to feel like I'm trying to just put content together for you guys on a Sunday that's a waste of your time. I want to bring content that is impactful, in my opinion. I'm trying my best here to bring you guys some highlights from the week or 2 weeks that's really big. And I just don't want to do content that I feel is not robust. That's not robust and full of stuff. So I don't see there being a whole lot of that coming forward. We're obviously going to get documentaries. We're obviously going to get some entertainment side. But as far as the disclosure side and really bombshell stuff, I'm not sold that we're going to get that for quite a while. So I'm going to take advantage of that time to reassess what we're doing, what's going on, how the creative process is going, and what I want to do. And then we'll go from there. But no matter where I go or what we do or come back here, I could come back here and right at the end or mid-January or something and say, you know what, I'd rather just do YouTube. Rather just do YouTube. I just want to let you guys know there's going to be a break, and I'm just telling you why the break is there. Geb says, yeah, I miss AA on here. Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, man. Look, I don't blame Ollie and them for moving off of YouTube. YouTube is it's a tough situation because it's a lot of effort, man. It is. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It is, but it's just too bad. Like when you see that YouTube isn't pushing your content out there and you're kind of at a standstill with it, you start to kind of say, okay, what are things that I like with YouTube? What do I like about this? What things do I don't? And then you start kind of looking out other areas and say, well, what is this other area? What is going to X or Twitter? What does that offer me? What does that offer as far as even, look, I'm never going to be a millionaire, guys. I'm not trying to be Joe Rogan. Okay. I'm not like, that's not the point. The point is if I'm not going to make $1 million, which I mean, I guess you never say never, but that's not probably realistic. You want to be able to get your message out there. You want to be able to talk to people and get more people involved. And I do want more of that. When this channel started, this channel really did start as a conversation with me and my brother-in-law, Steve French. He's had his own things going on and he's had to kind of take time away. And so when he kind of had to step away and take his time away, I took over and I went, full news, and I started doing the videos and cutting the clips and getting that stuff around, which has been a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And if YouTube isn't going to move it, I have to at least consider some other things. So I'll digress on it here, but I've got some things I want to think about. But that's why I keep saying follow the Twitter underneath the little Red Wing guy, the jersey with the backwards hat, at Terrestrial Material. That is Twitter or X. Follow there, because I will be trying out some space stuff, and I will be tweeting some news and doing some stuff out there. Right. But I don't want anybody to freak out. People freak out, when changes come around. So people freak out. But I will. Last thing I'll say is I'm about to meet up with. I believe I am. I mean, I'm supposed to be meeting up with Ollie and them, and I think I'm going to do an episode on for the Daily Conspiracy Podcast here in about a half hour. I think that's what we're doing. They messaged me that they wanted to hook up today and go over some stuff. So I think that that's what's going to be going on. So the next episode that's going to come out on Spotify, and just to make everybody aware of that, Alien Addict is no longer Alien Addict on Spotify. They've changed the name. They're doing a rebranding. It's called the Daily Conspiracy Podcast. So if you want to follow them, if you're not, you can, when you look it up on Spotify, you can look it up there. And just slightly freaking out. Nah, there's no reason to, brother. I'm not going anywhere as far as like leaving forever or something. The platform might switch. But yeah, follow the Daily Conspiracy Podcast. They're doing great, man. The episodes are still fun. A lot of funniness that's going on with them. But yeah, I think I'm going to be doing an episode with them today. I think so. So you'll get me back on there again. But I miss it too, man. Those guys are great. But I just want to say, just for my channel, thank you guys so much for everything, all the support, the retweets on Twitter for the show. John, Rotary, Gebs, Hammers. I know Gigi, you're kind of new, but that's okay. I appreciate you being here. 12 feet tall. Thank you for being here. Rotary. I've said your name 15 times. You're getting too much credit now. You're getting too much. I'm going to give you a big head. Okay. You can't do that. Bernie Marrow, Moody Mongo. Yeah, I just going through the chat again saying, thank you guys. Okay. Thank you guys very much. But just pay attention to the Twitter. I'll update you guys. You'll know what's going on when it's there. But I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have learned a little bit. I hope you guys have been able to take stuff away from it, that you've been able to learn and kind of progress down the road. I try to bring you guys the facts as best as I can. You know, I don't like, I put my opinion on it. But I try not to, I'm not here to mislead you guys. That's not my goal. Some other people maybe, but not me. But all right, you guys have a great rest of your holiday. Thanksgiving's coming up for me. And look, we'll see you out on Twitter, okay? Bring your sword and shield to Twitter. Sometimes, figuratively, that is. Sometimes it gets a little crazy out there. But thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the song here for you. And yeah, we'll run the song. All right? Have a great rest of your Sunday, guys. Thanks.
Roll out of bed Sunday afternoon and brew my cup. No UFO live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Gotti and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. Cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go! Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps in rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it, man. I know people say that, but it's been awesome. You guys have come around every Sunday, dude. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys soon, all right? All right, hang in there.